Alright, so I'm trying this again because I tried this using the YouTube webcam capture. Can I say right now that the YouTube webcam capture utility sucks because it kept just like saying, oh, there's a connection problem, and then it would just not record anything, and then it stopped recording audio, and I didn't realize that, and I had recorded a 20-minute thing, and then it was gone. So, that's stupid. I don't know what it is. I'm using Chrome, but that's Google's browser, so you would think that would work. I don't know. So now I'm using the built-in software, the Canine webcam, that looked crappy, but it's going to get the job done. So why didn't I do that first? I don't know. I'm tired. Why am I tired? Because as some of you might know, on Sundays I do my long walks. Normally I walk 2 miles. On Saturdays I walk like 3 miles because I go to the library. Sundays though, that's my like exploring, just open-ended, like I walk until I feel like I've walked enough, and then I turn around and then I walk home. And I've been averaging like 5 miles, but today I was like, I'm gonna really, and I just felt like it was beautiful outside. I felt energized because yesterday I found out I lost another 4 pounds in 4 pounds this week. So I was like, I'm stoked. I'm on a good pace. I was feeling good. So there's this trail that I'd been trying to find where I could get it, like where it started. So I'm on this like bike and walking trail by my house, and I'm on this bridge, and it's over a canyon. I'm like, how do I get down into this canyon? Because I saw that there's a trail in the canyon, and I'm like, that looks cool, and I wonder where it ends up, and just want to check it out. And so like at the very worst possible scenario is I get somewhere and then I don't want to walk home, and I have my phone so I could call a taxi because I have money. That's the very worst possible scenario. Or I could just chill out somewhere until I felt like I had the energy to walk back home. Like those were my, like, I'm like, that's the worst that could happen. So I kind of do this loop through, because this is a suburban area, and I get off the bike trail at the one of the major cross streets, and I take it around and I use Google Maps to find where like you could hopefully get into this canyon trail. But I discovered, like, I took a picture of the trailhead, and I'm like, this is it. And then I realized the thing that I had taken a picture of was not the trailhead. It was like this maintenance path that you couldn't even get to the actual trail from it, because it was like, it was this weird canyon where it was like only going along this side and the trail's on this side, and there was no way to get over there without killing yourself or going through some serious brush, and I just didn't really feel like that. So then I went back, and then I went down further thinking there was a trail entrance, and it was like this insane, like, naturally there was no trail head. It was just like this steep wash kind of thing. Like if you've ever read or seen The Stand, it was pretty much like that. Like it just was like this steep, rocky, loose dirt. And I saw bike tread, so I assume people go down it on their bikes, but it didn't seem like too many people were walking down there. And so I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not good at that. Not really. Maybe when I was younger. So I was about to just go home, and then I saw these dogs down there in the canyon on the trail, and at first I was like, oh, it's probably just stray dogs. But then they looked really tired, and they looked like really nice dogs. So, and then as I was calling out to them, trying to get them to come up, like, because dogs can get up that path, and I was trying to get them to come up there just so I could see if they had tags. And they started coming towards me, and there was 2 dogs. Like, they were like, at first I thought it was one dog, then I realized there was another dog just like right next to it, and they were like these are bro dogs. I don't know, they were inseparable. And so and I thought that was really sweet. And so then they started coming closer, like, to get, they were kind of feeling me out, like, what's up with this guy. And And so but I couldn't get him to come closer. But as they were moving, I saw they had tags, and I was like, these are not strays. These are somebody's nice dogs, and I'm part of somebody's family. But there was nobody around. I called out, thinking maybe they went off the trail, like go to the bathroom or something. I don't know. People do that, but nobody. There was nobody around, and then I'm like, maybe I should find a nearby house, but that's sketchy. Like I can already tell, like, if I knock on some old lady's door and I'm like 6'4" dude, like, hey, yeah, there's these dogs in the canyon. Can you come with me to see if you know who these dogs are? Like, please come out of your house, or please let me in your house. Or that's bad news. Like, I'd probably end up, I don't know. I don't want this lady calling the cops or something, So this is what goes through my head. So I'm like, what can I do here? I'm like, I have to get down there. I have to get these dogs, because I could tell they were panting a lot. So, and it was a warm day, so they were probably pretty thirsty. They've been out in the sun. It was a nice sunny day here in San Diego. So I'm like, I gotta get to these dogs, and we'll figure out. I just gotta do it. So I started off the way I should have done the whole thing, and I kind of scooted down the thing on my butt. And I was like, I'm gonna get dirty. Who cares? I got a nice washing machine. It'll work. And whatever. These are like $15 shorts. I don't really care. And so I started that, but then I got cocky and I stood up, and then I started scooting down, and I made it about half. I started doing the sidesteppy thing, and I made it about halfway down, and then I got really bold. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna run it out the rest of the way, because you can. I remember doing that when I was a kid in these situations, but what I didn't realize is, like, I'm not a kid anymore, and I weigh like way more, way more. It's like 3 of the little Brendos inside of me. So I made it about another like quarter of the way down, and I then felt that I'm gonna trip or slip, and this is happening. So I kind of did a tuck and roll as I was losing my footing on like some loose rocks, and that probably saved me from serious injury. And I just let it happen. Like, you get hurt when you like resist, like when you put your arms out, or when you like try to break your but I did it in the right way, and that way I only got some scrapes. I didn't hit my head. I banged my back a little bit, and there's a bruise, but there's nothing. It's nothing. I didn't break anything. I might be in some pain tomorrow, but it's cool. So I made it down there, and I knew I was scraped, and I knew I was bleeding, but I didn't want to look at it because I don't handle blood very well, especially when it's coming out of my body. I tend to go into shock and freak out, and so I just didn't look at it. And but I knew it wasn't too bad, because it wasn't like, I just kind of gave it a quick check, and I wasn't like just actively just spurting blood everywhere. It was just it was scrapes, and it was kind of oozing a little bit, but nothing like serious, nothing that needed immediate attention. And like, I scraped my arm too, but the biggest part was on my leg. But this isn't that bad, right? Like, look at that. Like, that's not too bad. That's like falling down when you're a kid off your bike. But my leg's a little bit worse. I think I posted a picture on Instagram. Not Instagram, on Twitter. I didn't want to freak everybody out on Instagram with a gross picture of my leg. But that was after I had Band-Aids, so you can't really see the extent. But there's blood oozing out of the Band-Aids, which is gross. So I get down there, and the dogs are really nice. They're friendly. I'm petting them, and I get a hold of their tag, and I see that, one of them's named Brody and one of them's named Oreo, and that there's a phone number. And I'm like, this is not like, these dogs got out of a house or something, because it's a canyon, and there's houses all along up the hill, like, their yards are all like lead. This canyon's behind a lot of people's houses, so I mean, they could live miles away. Who knows how long these dogs have been out here? And so I called, and it turned out it was this girl's dad's dogs. But I don't know. I didn't really get into like, so do you live? Like, I don't know, whatever. But it was her dad's dogs. The phone number was her number, so maybe she lives with her dad. But I don't. I couldn't tell if she was in high school or not. That's why it will make sense what I did later. Like so I was talking to her and she was so like, oh my gosh, I'm so like we're not even home. Like they must have gotten out. Oh, thank you so much. And she's like, I'm gonna head over. Where are you? And I told her where I was, and I told her I was gonna get up on the sidewalk back out of the canyon. Um, and so she told me, like, give me some tips on how to get the dogs to follow me, and so I was started doing that, and they started following me, and and then I get up, and then I get to the point where I'm like, I need to get back out of this canyon, and it was totally like the stand because I'm like on all four things, crawling up. I almost slipped like 5 times. Um, and then I got the dogs out of there, and then this little girl, and I don't know how little she was. I was kind of, I don't know, she was younger girl, and her mom were on their bikes, and they like just bombed down this path, and I'm like, oh, so that's what that's for, and yeah, um, and then the dog, one of the dogs followed them, and I'm like, no. And I call, and then the girl's like, "Are these your dog?" And I'm like, "They're not, but I need to get them up here because the owner's coming to meet me. I found them down there," and so she carried the dog back up, and she's a lot more nimble than I am. She was able to get up and down, no problem. Like, look at you, fatty. Like, can't even do this. I don't know. She was nice. I don't think that's what she was thinking. But she saw me bleeding all over the place, so I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. It was funny. Um, and the mom seemed a little sketched out, like there's this dude that's bleeding all over the place with these dogs off the leash. I don't know what's going on. But once I was telling some jokes, and I think her radar stopped going off. I think she's like, okay, this guy's not some crazy person living in the canyon. um, so they were really nice, and they kind of made sure that I was okay, and then they took off. um, and because once I assured them that somebody was coming to pick up the dogs, and I was going to get medical attention because the mom especially was worried about me. um, See, strangers are nice, you guys. Like, I don't know, I feel like we get a little overboard on the stranger danger thing, and then if I had never talked to these people, I don't know. I don't have kids, but if I had kids, I'd probably be like, yeah, don't talk to anybody. I don't even care if you fell down a canyon and you're bleeding. Like, don't talk to anybody. If I had a kid, I'd be like that. But I talked to the strangers, and they were okay. So I don't know what that means. The girl comes, and again, I couldn't tell how old she was. Like, she could have been in high school. But she's maybe 20, maybe 21 at the most. And so because my original plan was like, she was by herself. I thought she was gonna be with her dad, and my original plan was like, I'm gonna ask these people if they can, like, give me some water, let me sit down in their house, or outside their house at least, and help me clean up my leg, because I don't know, it looks kind of bad, so I just don't want it to get infected. And then when I saw that she was by herself, and she was younger, and she was really, like, tense about the dogs, she was worried about the dogs, but she was super nice, and she brought me Band-Aids and stuff, so that was good. And but then she offered me, like, a ride, and I just was like, I'm gonna walk, like, I'm good, like, I don't want to create any kind of weird situation. I don't know, is that weird? Did I make it weird just by not, I don't know, just being nice? And so I decided, and plus I wanted to finish my walk, and I thought I could finish my walk, and I'm very trying to be disciplined in that way. So she took off, and I started walking home. And then I started kind of freaking out about the blood. And so I called Derek Armijo, my good buddy, former Popsicles co-host. And we talked while I was walking home, so I didn't think about my scrapes and things and freak out. And that was great. But then he had to go. after like a half hour, 35 minutes. So, and I thought I was fine, and I thought I, and then, but then then like I noticed that like people like on when I got back on the bike trail, the bike and walking trail, like people were stopping every single time I passed somebody to see if I was okay. They were offering me like, do you need to use my phone? Can we help you? And I was like, I'm good. And then I'm like, man, maybe I should get this cleaned up. Maybe I need to get off at the next little exit and see if I can find some place where I can do that. And I got off, and it's in the middle of the suburbs. There's no stores, there's no gas station, nothing, but there is a Mormon church. And I was a little concerned because I was like, what if they try to, like, I don't know, evangelize or make me go to a Bible study or something, which is dumb. But because, like, remember that commercial in the 80s where, like, the Mormon dude's helping that guy on his bike, like, who got all scraped up, and I'm like, that's the Mormons. They're gonna help me. And so I went in the church, and I went in the office, and I was like, hey, look at my bleeding leg, pretty much. Because at first they were like, can we help you? And I was like, yeah, I need some water. And they're like, okay. And I was like, my leg's bleeding really bad. And then I told them the story, and they were like, oh, and like they were really nice. And this dude got me a first aid kit and showed me where the bathroom was so I could clean it out, and that's what I did. And I used the antiseptic, and I almost screamed because there's a lot of cuts, and cuts and alcohols, like the Simpsons, like but it was that means it's working, and you're not gonna get like, I don't know what happens to infected cuts. It's probably disgusting, and I didn't want that to happen. So Mormons were cool. And then they refilled my water bottle and gave me water, and they offered me food, and I was like, I'm good. I need to get out of it and keep going. Not get out of here like because I'm scared, but I want to. If I get in like a super relaxed mode, I'm not gonna be able to walk home, you guys. So I'm feeling good, and I'm gonna just walk home. I got like another mile tops, which is true. I had like a mile, and I did it, and I got home, and then I slept for 3 hours. And because I was exhausted from walking and being in the sun, because I left my house at like 10:45, and it was now 3 p.m. because between like the extra walking and then waiting for this girl and then going to the church, and yeah, so I was done. And so I just woke up, checked on my wounds. They're all good, no bleeding, and they look clean. They don't look like all pussy and gross. So I think I'm going to be okay. And now I'm going to go get some dinner. And I'm going to go to the Mongolian barbecue place and just get it without the noodles. Although it's 8:24. I don't know if they're still open. Crap. I'll figure something out, you guys. But I just want to share that story. Because there were some people on Twitter that were concerned. And also it's a great story. And I feel like I did a good deed today. And I fell down a canyon and saved some dogs. Like, that's cool, guys. Even though my leg hurt and I was scared to go into the Mormon church to get help, but everything worked out, and I'm at home. And yeah, so I hope you guys have a good week. And don't forget, on Friday, Radio Brendo Man will be recording. And if you want to be really cool, we're doing a Kickstarter, make t-shirts. We're already way ahead of our goal, but we got some cool stretch goals. Go to radiobrendo.com, click the Kickstarter link, or just go on Kickstarter, search Radio Brendo Man, and pitch in. There's so much cool stuff on it. Even if you don't even know what Radio Brendo Man is, the t-shirts are cool. There's so much other cool stuff. We have a good time. And radiobrendo.com for all your Radio Brendo Man needs. It's a good podcast. You hear funny stories and cool stories like this one with me and my best buddy Phil, talking about movies, nostalgia, all that good stuff, Netflix, geeky stuff, Doritos, soda. Phil has an orchard, and we talk about it sometimes. I don't know, man. We talk about everything. Just ask anybody that listens to the show. So that's my story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Everybody have a good weekend.